You're watching the Biker Protocol channel. Mwah.
Hi, I'm Picasso with the Eagle Riders MC here in Las Vegas. I'm here today with...
I am Hollywood with Black Patch MC here in Las Vegas.
Cool. So today's video is kind of a little topical. It's sort of a hot topic. Somebody from our channel actually left a comment. It was Daniel Bryce. Sorry if I'm butchering that, Daniel, but left a comment. He says, what do you guys think about the Harley Davidson CEO getting fired? It's sort of a hot button topic right now. This guy in particular has been sort of, his name's, and I'm going to probably butcher his name. It's, gosh, I got to read it. And it's Jochen Zeitz.
Isn't he like Swedish or something?
I think he's German or Austrian. He might be Swedish. Scandinavian, I think, is for lack of a better way to put it. But he's been head of the, of Harley for some time now. And has been working in Harley for quite a long time. My understanding is he's been there since 2007. Yeah, my notes. So he's worked his way up in Harley. His background, he actually came from merchandising for Puma, of all things. The shoe company, the clothing company, right? So I don't know how that translates to motorcycles, but a lot of times it doesn't necessarily take a good leader of a specific industry to turn a business around, definitely. Right? Because a lot of people don't always understand that. That, just because you came from, the clothing industry doesn't mean that there's no connection into motorcycles, right? Yeah. Everybody assumes that to be president or CEO of a motorcycle company, you should ride motorcycles, be into that culture. May not necessarily be true. And in this particular case, it didn't seem like it was true at all, although he's been working with Harley for a while. His background was in merchandising, and that's kind of what Harley brought him up to do, was kind of get their merchandising, their branding up. And that's what they were hoping he would do, and it didn't really quite work out that way. And I think the first thing, from my understanding, that we need to dispel is he wasn't fired. I think people keep pushing this online. He was fired. Harley has fired him, and there may be some truth to that behind the scenes. Excuse me, but the reality is, he resigned. So
I think that's the way like most CEOs.
Yeah, I mean,
he never get fired.
Could have been a forced resignation, which is most likely the case. But
that's the way it goes.
Yeah, he gets a golden parachute. Probably it's bigger this way if he leaves. I guess, I don't know. So
package.
Yeah, if you want to call it that, sure. Yeah, but he, he probably made off pretty good. But Harley had some good things under his tenure. They had a lot of bad things under his tenure. He's the one that spearheaded the whole Livewire project, which I think we can agree was less than stellar, and a couple other things. But you can't knock Harley, I guess, for trying, right? I mean, I know there's like a lot of old school biker guys who are like, well, this whole thing was so stupid. Why they come up with electric? But and there's arguments to be made for that. Although I think that if you're going to grow as a company, you have to think outside the box. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, because in a lot of ways, that's what's killing Harley right now. Is people are getting older. They're not riding as much. They're not drawing in new motorcyclists. And quite frankly, a 22-year-old kid isn't looking as a Harley as something that, like when we grew up, that was like an iconic motorcycle. You're able to get into a super fast motorcycle with a lot of power, a lot of performance for a quarter of the price, right? So, there's kind of arguments to be made for that, right?
Definitely.
Now, if you want to argue that, if you don't innovate, you don't advance, and you have to kind of look at that as well. Harley has to work on getting their own base up on the younger end of the market. If you haven't noticed, the smaller bikes for Harley are the ones that are not selling right now, and they were kind of distancing themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Oddly enough, it's a lot of their high end bikes. Everybody jokes, well, nobody wants to buy a Harley because it's $40,000. Those are the bikes that are selling.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but they are.
Well, if they take the price down of a Sportster 883 from like 20 grand or whatever it costs to what it really actually.
Right. That's right. Correct. But they stopped selling a lot of the lower end bikes. Now, if you want my opinion for whatever this is worth, I think what Harley should have done was taken the Livewire, put it off on its own brand. I think by sticking a Harley label on it, that's what killed it.
Yeah.
Not that Harley is a bad brand. It's just that doesn't fall into that Harley ecosystem, that mentality of, hogs and the Harley riding experience. It was not that. And so I think if they were smart, what they should have done was branch that off into its own brand, a division of Harley. And they probably would have had more luck with it. I mean, it's kind of like Harley used to own Buell.
Yeah.
Which shame on them for killing.
Pretty cool bike. I've never ridden one, but I've seen them.
Stunningly beautiful sport bikes. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I had a buddy who rolled up on it, and it sounded like a Harley. I was like, That's a sport bike.
Yeah.
Why does it sound like a Harley?
But they're great performance
cool.
bikes. They were great looking, they were a sport bike. And they looked it. I've never owned one, but I mean, I know people that have, and they all swore by them. And then they kind of killed the brand off. I think they bought it and wanted it for patent rights and things like that.
So let's be honest. It's not about, it's about their brand.
Yeah.
They don't care about who we are or what. They just care that we buy our
Right.
buy their bikes. It's all an internal like funding type thing or business expectation. So when the community, obviously we're on that bandwagon now talking about this, starts saying, "Oh, where's Harley going? This and that." They don't really care what we think. Let's be honest. They just want to make the money, and we're going to continue to buy the bikes. And I guess there's that mob mentality of like
Mhm.
we all stand together, but which is clearly not a thing
Right.
in this country for some reason. That we can fight back, but that's not the truth. They're gonna. That's why Harleys aren't even made in America anymore.
No, they are, but there's a lot of parts that come.
Let's say assembled in America.
There you
They
go.
are assembled in America. That's a corporate way around that.
Well, I remember reading that like the Honda Goldwings, there's more went into building a Honda Goldwing in America than a Harley. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
like you were saying about evolving and progressing.
Yeah.
I mean, Harley's engine hasn't changed in what, the 100 years or so? I don't know. I mean, I don't have that much knowledge.
There's not a lot of truth to that either. I mean, they're going now more into liquid cooled.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
there's a few videos out there I've watched where they compare Harley engines and stuff because I've obviously watched the ones comparing to Victory engines. But a lot of their technology has not evolved, and there's still, from my understanding, and you guys can kill me in the comments if you want. I'm definitely not a Harley guy, but they're still running the push rods and the stator is buried in the engine.
Yeah. Well, and also getting the back wheel off, it's hard to get to the belt system. There's a lot of tech in it that Harley is really just slow at evolving with.
So what I'm saying is, I think what maybe they were trying to do was, I don't know, maybe this guy was the wrong choice for it. The LimeWire,
yeah.
That's those little scooters, LimeWire.
Yeah, right.
But maybe they're trying to hope he could bring a little bit more modernization into it, and maybe it failed, or maybe us as consumers pushed him out.
Yeah.
Because we like the terrible bikes we ride that leak when you leave the lot. So I don't know. I'll play devil's advocate on that because everyone wants to argue that Harley's bad, this and that. But you guys are still buying the bikes.
Well, listen, I'm a new Harley owner, right?
Yeah.
So, and I got to share with you, I've ridden a lot of motorcycles in my time, right? Nothing beats the riding experience of owning a Harley, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, it is a very unique experience.
What stands out about it then?
Well, it's aside from the subjectiveness and the experience of just sitting on it and enjoying it, the performance of it is very good. It has it feels like a solid motorcycle. I feel very safe on it. I've ridden, the last bike I had was a Goldwing, and I didn't feel safe on that bike at all.
Really?
I hated that bike.
Hated it. Okay.
And absolutely hated it, and I felt very unsafe on it. On the Harley, I feel very safe. I feel very connected to the bike. Its performance is very good. And granted, maintenance on the bike is definitely higher than normal. But I feel like it is, a very well built. I feel like I got my money's worth out of it. That makes sense, right? I don't feel like the price I paid for it. And I own for those of you who don't know, I ride a 23 Road Glide Limited, right? So it's a larger bike, it's a higher end bike, but it feels to me like it was worth the expense to buy. There's some of the mechanical engineering is questionable. The fact that the oil changing system on it is ridiculous. There's things about it. Right?
So not to get a sidetrack, because my outlook on Harley.
Yeah.
This is about Harley going under, as everyone says. Their stock price is tanking. I think we wrote in our notes it was like $20 a share or something. I don't know what it is to this day.
Look it up,
but you can say that about any company. Like as we were talking earlier about like Ford, Chevy. All their stock prices are pretty much around $20 to $40 for the last 40 years.
Million years, yeah.
And it's all about restructuring and how they spend their money. And stock price doesn't always say how, especially in modern times, if you've looked at the stock market in the last couple of weeks, does not say.
No, I mean, it shows to a degree of consumer confidence, but that's even within parameters. And but I think, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So just thinking that, like, I don't know, I think Harley, if it wants to continue going and succeed, it needs to adapt and apply itself to that younger audience. Which the younger audience, like the fast sport bikes, the Buell would be probably a
Yeah,
good,
I think if they brought that
good
brand
thing to
back, they
bring
would
back.
kill it with that. Yeah, because it's an
So
American-made sport bike.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, is that the only American
It would be the
sport?
only one. That was the only
Really?
one. Yeah,
Holy cow!
yeah.
So it,
That's like a major brand, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's where you can go with it. But I mean,
Well,
yeah,
but I also think there was, and I don't, one thing that we've agreed on when we started this channel, we don't like getting a lot into politics because
yeah,
those are weeds we don't want to
definitely.
get into. But I think politics definitely played a part into this whole thing too. We have started seeing a shift with major brands, especially with diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI policies being implemented into businesses. There's been a lot of pushback against that, and Harley, this particular guy, was very big into that, huge into that, and nobody knew it. And so that started coming to light in recent months. And I think that probably led up to I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin. It was lacking of performance in the company and a lot of not so great successes and a lot of bad direction of the company. I think that was kind of his nail in the coffin. But regardless of that, that I think his time was coming.
Yeah,
So we'll see what it leads to. I mean, we could all speculate as far as where they've been, where they're going. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, I think you're right. I think if they're not adapting, they're dying.
yeah.
And they have to figure out a way to do this.
The TikTok age,
Yeah.
The influencer age,
Right.
I
And,
don't
and there's
even
and there's
like
quite
using that
frankly
term.
not a lot of guys. I mean, I feel like I'm a younger Harley owner, and I'm not, I'm no spring chicken, but I feel like they got to start drawing in people a lot younger than me. And if they don't start generating that culture, I don't know where they're going to go, but
Yeah.
they have to start thinking like that.
I mean, you can look at history repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
You can look back in the chopper days where, a lot of people would buy the bikes off the lot and just tear them apart and
Yeah.
strip them, or even just the guys that were into just choppers. And they would always say, I've known quite a few of those people are like, I don't need a stereo in my bike.
Yeah.
Or,
Right.
then once you get on one and have a windshield and a fairing and luggage, and
Yeah.
you go, okay, this is kind of nice. And it's no wrong to you,
No.
or it's just adapting. It's understanding that there can be more comfortable ways to do things we're doing, and still be cool and have your black Harley,
Right.
and
Well, and
whatnot.
and
So
if you look at the evolution of cars over the last, let's say, 40 years, and you look at the evolution of motorcycles, it's followed them a lot too.
mhm.
So, the challenge I think Harley is in, they're kind of in this middle state and they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
So I'll give you an example. I was watching a YouTube channel recently and they were it's a guy who runs a garage and he kind of restores old cars and stuff like this, right? It's a cool channel. I don't remember the name of it. Forgive me watching this. I don't remember the name. But one of the things he was pointing out was there are basically 3 different stages of owning a car, right? And the problem is now in our current culture, we have eliminated stage 3. It's gone. And that's a big, big problem for car owners moving forward because where are we going to go as car owners? And what he was explaining is that stage 1 is you buy a brand new car. Dealers love this. Motorcycles are no different, right? You go to the Harley dealership, you go to the Chevy dealer, Ford, whatever. Okay, so you go in, you shop for a brand new vehicle. And you're making payments on it, the whole thing, right? Okay.
mhm.
So now you have this brand new vehicle, and they are showing with cars, its average lifespan is about 5 to 6 years on a new car. So you now have this car, and maybe you're still making hopefully you're not upside down in it, but you've got this new vehicle, and now you want to trade it in for something new
Yeah,
for whatever reason. Okay. So now you're trading it in. So now you're going from phase 1. The car is now entering the second phase of its life. Right now, it's a used car. And it's either sold to a private party or in most cases, it's sold to a dealership as a trade-in, right? So now they're going to turn around and they're going to sell that car. So this car most likely, because it's been owned for about 5-6 years, is going to have about 60, 70,000 miles on it.
yeah,
Okay? So now they've got this car, they're going to turn in, CarMax or whoever's, they're going to sell it. So now a second buyer is going to get it. Now you're in the phase 2 of this vehicle's life, right? So now the second owner has it and they're going to dump another 50, 60,000 miles on it. And the reason they're buying it used is because either they can't afford a new car or they don't want to have very high payment. It could be any number of reasons, or they just don't feel like they need a brand new, all the bells and whistles vehicle. Okay. So now they're going to get this car and they're going to run up to 130, 140,000 miles. Okay. So now under normal conditions, and this is where we've been for decades, this would then enter its third phase of its life, which means high school kid's going to buy it and work on it. He wants to wrench on the vehicle. He wants to tear it apart. And a lot of us in the motorcycle world, we started this way into cars or
Yeah.
bikes, right? We wanted something that was kind of low key, low tech. I could wrench on it. If something breaks, I could fix it.
Yep,
I can
cheap.
work on it on my driveway. All cheap, right?
Yeah.
Your point of entry is very inexpensive and you can maintain this vehicle forever. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, because the technology has gotten so sophisticated in cars, the phase 3 of its life is gone. There is no more because you're now dealing with technological breakdowns. You got to replace screens
yeah,
or weird sensors going out that you're not, unaware of. Your check engine light comes on under a most bizarre of circumstances, right? And there's so much tech in this vehicle that now it's just easier to junk it than it is to ever work on it. Motorcycles are not much different because I will share with you, I love my Harley, right? I plan on keeping this bike for a long time. It's a great, great bike. I'm really, really happy with it. It's the best motorcycle I've ever owned.
Yeah.
Now, there might be a time I want to sell this 4 or 5 years down the road, okay? And it's going to fall into this same system, right? So, what's going to happen when the technology in motorcycles starts getting to a point where people just can't wrench on them on their garages anymore,
It's
right?
almost, a lot of ways, it's almost there. And I mean, I couldn't imagine, like you said yours is 2023.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine tearing that apart and replacing the engine because I had that done with my previous Victory, when another story for another time, when the engine blew up. And that's a very simple bike in terms of modern day bikes.
Right.
It was a 2016. And I look at that and go, just all the wires and cables, and there was no fancy screen and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, now they have that ride technology where it adapts your suspension and
crazy,
braking, and like, how do you even put that back together? So you're 100% right. Like that's a big part of it, I think. And I think also for the community of motorcycle owners, maybe that's why Harley's going under, is because they're adapting too much, maybe, and those older school bikers who like to wrench on things are no longer doing that.
Well, it's a double-edged sword because they want to every year they have to come up with something better than they had last year. Bigger engine, better tech, bigger screen, bigger whatever it is. They got to do something in 2026 that's better than 2025.
Yeah.
The problem with doing that is that then they keep creating this problem, right? And you can't fix anything, you can't do anything, and you have to take it to Harley if it's almost getting to that point now, right? So these are the problems. And the other problem is, the other edge of that sword is, if they make them too simple, they're not going to sell, because why would I want to trade in my bike for an existing bike that's the same thing, right? It's a really weird dynamic there.
So going back, it's our fault and your fault,
right,
that Harley's going under, to be honest. Like, really, we demand more from companies. It could go for any company, and they continually have to evolve. And then you get to a point where it's like, well, now it's past what we originally wanted, and now we're going to complain.
Yeah.
So here we are complaining, or maybe we're debating it, but everyone else seems to be complaining about it. It's the nature of, I think, everything, the human nature of to change and adapt and progress. And the ones that don't do it will be left behind.
Yeah.
And you'll be, you can ride your Harleys or, whatever. I'll use myself example. I love Victory, but the parts are going away. The bikes are gone. I'm going to have to buy something soon. I'm going to have to go to
and it's a shame because they're such great bikes. I mean, they really are. Yeah.
So, maybe I have to buy a Harley. I don't know. Probably not. But anyways, I don't know.
So it's hard to say what the state of Harley is going to be.
Yeah.
I have heard, and this is, I've heard this third hand, right? But I have heard that his resignation, their CEO that just left, evidently the dealers are very happy about this. They've been complaining, I guess, for a while,
really,
that a lot of the company focus has been on moving merchandise and product sales online, so that people aren't going in and buying the $40 Harley shirts in the dealer; they're buying them on the internet, right?
Well, but also
there's a lot of that.
With that said, progression,
right?
Where do all you people shop at? Probably Amazon is a good percentage, I would imagine. So there's nothing wrong. I mean, let's be honest, dealers, like in-store dealers, are all the Radio Shacks and Circuit Cities and whatever. They're all these stores and in-person places are going away because we're demanding our products now and easy.
Yeah.
So what will a company do?
Yeah.
They're gonna get rid of dealers. If you can buy a motorcycle and have it delivered to your door the next day, brand new in a crate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's better. I would do that.
You can actually order motorcycles on Amazon. I mean, they're not good, but you can do it.
But you know what I mean? If you could buy your Harley and not have to go play the haggle game with the salesperson and just get the price you want, and it's there the next day, I mean, who wouldn't want that, right?
I think there's still an element you want to be able to sit on a bike and look at it and touch it.
There
I
is.
get that too,
There
right?
is, yeah.
And there's always a place. I mean, even Tesla, they started with just basically, I think, if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they were all.
But I think they were all online, and now they have Tesla dealers.
But even then, I don't think they have very many vehicles in stock. It's more like you say, like go sit in it, see how.
But you could do that in a kiosk. You don't have to do that in a multi-million-dollar Harley facility. That's
exactly.
That I think is the problem.
So then they charge you the $40 for the t-shirt.
Right. That's why you're paying $40 for a t-shirt. Right.
So I think it always comes down to the consumers are the problem because the companies will take advantage of whatever we do.
100%.
So if we stop doing it, then they will do what we want. So if that's kind of a double.
And make no bones about it. At the end of the day, as much as Harley likes to have a loyalty with their customers, they're in this to make money. I mean, that's the absolute truth, right? I mean,
I would even say that back in the day when they started, they didn't start the company to be like,
we love motorcycles.
They wanted to make money.
Yeah, that was the crux. I mean, that was why they got into that business as opposed to the sewing machine business.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
But I mean, they at some point had a love for motorcycles. But at the end of the day, it was, I have a love for motorcycles. How can I make money with my love for motorcycles? I mean, that's what it was, right?
Say a little hit at Harley. They do sound like sewing machines coming out the lot.
Stock.
That's why they have to take their
that's so true,
exhaust.
I hate
the first upgrade.
When I bought my bike, that was the first up. I mean, literally, I think I actually bought them online. I'm not kidding you. While I was in the dealer signing paperwork, I think I bought my pipes online.
And they know that.
Yeah,
and they're going to keep doing it. Because they are cheap to put that exhaust on. They know you'll buy the more expensive one.
Well, I think I saw a meme once of the poor guy working in the sweatshop making stock pipes for Harley. Going this is such a worthless job because who's a product nobody uses. Yeah, it's like.
Oh boy, yeah. So, anyways, I kind of was not. I didn't want to get into the Harley,
but it's a good conversation.
It's on the YouTube. It's on the internet. I mean, we might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
See what you guys think.
And people have been asking us about it. So, yeah.
I wouldn't say it had anything to do with protocol, but in a way, maybe tradition, because Harley's been, it's a heritage company. And,
for sure.
Pretty much, I mean, I would say, clubs wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Harley's.
Well, that's true.
To be honest.
And we'll get into a whole conversation on ally clubs or ally bikes, because it's not just Harley.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of people think that, MCs should, you're supposed to ride a Harley. Man, that's actually not true. It's ally bikes, but we'll get into that.
The best branding.
Yeah, well, that's good too. Yeah.
So,
all right, cool. Listen, hey, thanks for watching our video today. We know it ran a little long, and I think this got a little bit more in depth than we expected it to, but I think it was a good video, and I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it because people have been asking us. So, listen, if you haven't had a chance yet, please like and subscribe to this channel. You can do that down below. And also click the notification bell so you get our videos. We're coming out twice a week now. And also, please leave a comment. If you have any input or, opinions on this whole thing with, Harley and their new CEO who hasn't come in yet.
If you just want to yell and say Harley sucks, I'll be right there.
You'll get a big thumbs up.
So.
Or if you love Harley, we ride the best bike. Listen, thanks again for watching.
Let's do
a shot. Yeah. It's like a rum or something. Cool. Keep the shiny side up, guys. Peace out. We'll see you on the next video.